Hi everybody. I thought I would do a quick video to explain a very interesting process which I've just gone through, which I found really interesting. So I just wanted to explain what I'd done. For the last month I've kept I'd like to say daily journal, but you know, life gets in the way. So I've kept a couple of times a week a very simple journal with some tarot cards and some oracle cards, and I combine the two and create some sort of a summary. So you can see here sort of for the past month I've gone through, and I like to use color a lot. Sometimes I use astrology, sometimes I use elemental dignities. It really just depends how much time I've got. Clearly I didn't have much time this day. Then I started to change the way I did them, and I started to write in the colors of the element so that it was easy to see earth, air and fire, and that became a little bit more interesting to see and also to read. So what I then did is let me just get this out of the way. What I then did is I went back over the past month and I did a summary of what cards I drew every day. And as you can see, I've circled them with the color of its element, so that it makes it easy for me to count. So basically what I'm looking for is, as at the end of the month, I'm looking for a grand summary. I'm looking for a bit like you would summarize a normal spread. I'm looking back over the month to look for patterns. So you can see it's very simple. I've obviously used the W for Wands, S for Swords, P for Pentacles, C for Cups, and then I've just kind of given a short name for the major arcanas, KI for kings and KNs for knights, of which I have none. So here are the days and here are the cards. Some days I've pulled 3 cards, some days I've pulled more. That's irrelevant. What I'm looking for is what things have appeared the most. So I did this, and then I created a little summary here at the bottom. So I did here, out of 70 cards, because there were 70 cards in total, 22 were cups, or actually no, 22 were water element, because I've done the major arcana as well. So 22 were water element, 18 were earth, 14 air, 16 fire. So I can instantly see what's happening there. Out of 70 cards, I had 17 major arcana cards, and this is the elemental breakdown of the major arcana cards. So you can see here earth is a majority, with water closely followed. I've also done another analysis which I've done on another sheet of paper, which I'm not going to show you because that sheet of paper is like mayhem. That shows here the Hierophant turned up 4 times for me during this last month, and the High Priestess twice. Then I did analysis of the court cards, and I can see I had 15 court cards. Here's the elemental breakdown. So they're pretty even: 4 water, 4 fire, 4 earth, and only 3 air. So the elemental breakdown was pretty even. But when I did the summary, so here I've done the summary of water, of air. So you can see there's the king, queen, page, king, page, queen, king, etc., etc. But then what I've done is I've added them up at the end. So I know I had 6 kings, 4 queens, no knights, and 5 pages. Then I did an analysis of the numbers. So I had predominantly 6s. Oh, this is minor arcana. I had predominantly 6s. I had 7 6s. I had 6 5s and 6 4s. And then 4 lots of all of those, and 3 9s. I had no 3s and no aces, which is interesting. Okay. Then I did an analysis of which cards themselves appeared the most. So it seems pretty even. So I had 3 of each of these cards: 7 of Wands, 5 of Swords, 6 of Cups, and 9 of Cups. Then what I did is I pulled that information into a summary sheet. So overall, out of 70 cards, water element was the overriding element. So emotions and relationships are the main focus. Out of the majors, we had earth and water, but that's cool. So that I haven't kind of broken that down any further, other than here to say that the Hierophant and the High Priestess are the cards that appeared most often, with Hierophant being the most. Then I've broken down the court cards. I had 15 court cards out of a total of 70 cards. No knights. Now, no knights itself is significant because there means there's no movement, right? Perhaps a lot of action, but no movement. Pretty much equal elements, so there wasn't an element there with the courts that stood out any great predominance. But certainly the kings and the pages were the biggest players, of which the Page of Pentacles appeared 3 times. But this is interesting here because this is showing there's not so much a conflict, but maybe a balance or a requirement to balance between an adult active energy and a much younger passive childlike energy, if you like. Like I said, of the numbers, my big ones were the 6s, the 4s, and the 5s, or if you write it the right way around, it's 4, 5s, and 6s. So that's kind of in the middle of the numbers. Okay, so whenever I analyze spreads and we're looking at the numbers, the majority of any one number will tell you kind of where in the journey the person is. So clearly, the overall message that I'm getting here suggests that I'm kind of midway. I'm in the middle of this journey. Like I said, there were no 3s and no aces, which is also interesting because I had no knights. So the 3s are the growth and expansion part. The aces are the new beginnings. I understand the new beginnings aren't here because I'm in the middle of my journey, so that's fine. And actually, it's quite a tough journey that I'm on, so I'm glad that I'm not at the beginning. So I'm fine with the no aces. I think the no 3s are currently because I'm at a bit of a midpoint, if you like. So I know something's happening, and I know I have to now do something to move forward. So hence, I understand that's probably why there's no knights. And that's about it. Yes, so the Hierophant appeared 4 times, the High Priestess twice. So at the bottom here, is sort of the grand summary. So the focus of the month was on emotions and relationships. The Hierophant and the High Priestess were the major arcana cards that appeared the most for me. And it's interesting because there's sort of a masculine feminine element here with these two. And with these two, there's a young and a mature balance. So I know what this is about. I am doing a lot of inner child work at the moment, and whilst a lot of the daily spreads weren't aimed at the inner child work, it obviously came through because it's quite a big thing for me at the moment. And interestingly, because of where I am in the journey that I'm on, that these particular numbers came through as majority numbers for me. So I just wanted to share that because it's been so interesting. You know, quite often we do the day-to-day spreads and we view that spread in isolation. Yeah, sometimes we go, oh gosh, yes, I remember drawing that card a few days ago, and you know, oh, very interesting. But it's only when you look back, and you look back over the month, and you look and you go, oh my goodness, look, he's there all the time. And you start to see patterns, and you start to see things working their way through, and you can really get a lot of information from doing a summary. So what I would suggest, rather than be overwhelmed with starting a month, maybe just set aside time to do, I don't know, the next 5 days. Do something small like a 3-card spread so it doesn't get too complicated, and every day do the same 3-card spread, And then at the end of the 5 days, you can go back and do a summary. And you can see which cards appeared the most often, which elements were predominant, which court cards, etc. And then draw yourself a little summary and look back at your summary and see whether the summary was similar to your day-to-day messages. And if somehow, like it did for me, this seems to sum up what was happening for me on a personal level for the last month. And then if you feel inclined, journal about it and see how that helps you. I found this exercise immensely helpful, and because I love analyzing patterns, I've been on my element all morning, drawing pretty colors and circles and counting and correlating and all sorts of things. So it is a fun exercise, but at the end of the day, it's also very, very useful. So give it a try. And see how it works out, and let me know how you get on. Cheers for now then. Bye.